The colony of Arden 9 orbited its small yellow star in a quiet corner of the galaxy. On the surface, people worked, laughed, and lived simple lives. But now, the quiet was shattered. Alien warships darkened the skies above, moving like shadows, their weapons bristling and ready. Panic had begun to spread through the colony's population. Commander Varys, an experienced alien officer from the Xylar Confederation, hovered over the colony's holographic map in his command ship. His claws tapped nervously on the console. "Where is our backup?" he muttered to himself. The Galactic Council had promised reinforcements days ago, but the Council had done nothing. The delay had turned into silence. Varys had never seen a failure like this. The Council, a powerful body of multiple species, always acted in times of crisis. Their word was law, and now here he was, watching his people face annihilation without aid. He sent the distress signal again. A simple message. Help is needed. Arden 9 under attack. Immediate assistance required. It would take hours, maybe days, for anyone to respond, if they responded at all. Meanwhile, on the surface, colonists were gathering in the central city. Mayor Lyra tried to keep calm as her citizens cried and shouted around her. "We can't fight them alone," she whispered, her voice breaking. Soldiers scrambled to defend the main landing pad. Lasers flared, striking the alien ships. But they barely made a scratch in the hulls. High above, the alien fleet moved like a predator, circling its prey. Their massive ships were built for war, designed to crush resistance quickly. They had done this countless times on countless planets, and they expected Arden 9 to fall like every other world. Varys clenched his jaw. "We can hold them off," he told his officers, though his voice lacked conviction. His species had strength, yes, but the enemy fleet outnumbered them 3-1. And help was still nowhere in sight. Hours passed. The colony's defenses weakened under the alien bombardment. Fires spread across the cities. Panic turned to despair. Families ran for shelters. Soldiers fell, struggling to protect those they could. And still, the council remained silent. Then a strange signal appeared on the scanners of both Varys and the attacking fleet. A small group of ships, unlike anything either side had seen before, emerged at the edge of the system. They were human. The alien commanders leaned forward, their eyes wide. "What is that?" one hissed. Their sensors couldn't match the design. The ships were sleek, almost fragile-looking yet powerful. There were no enormous weapons arrays, no massive engines thrumming like the alien behemoths. Just smart, precise, clean ships, glowing faintly in the cold light of the star. Varys stared at the approaching fleet. His claws trembled slightly. Impossible. Who could they be? No one spoke. The galaxy had many species, many civilizations, but these ships were unlike any known. And now, they were moving closer, silently, as if aware of every alien maneuver and countermove. On the colony below, the people could not see the new arrivals yet, but they felt hope, faint and fragile. Someone, anyone, might come to help. The human ships didn't fire. They didn't scream across space like the alien warships. They moved with calm precision, positioning themselves strategically around the colony. One small ship zipped past, a massive alien battleship, almost daring it to react. The battleship fired, but its shots barely scratched the human vessel. And in return, the human ship sent a single pulse of energy that disabled the alien weapon instantly. Varys's jaw dropped. "What? What kind of technology is this?" he asked. The alien fleet faltered. Confusion spread among their ranks. Their weapons were advanced, yes, but humans didn't fight like any enemy they had faced. Humans didn't just attack. They calculated, they adapted, they used the environment in ways that seemed impossible. On the surface, Mayor Lyra and the colonists saw the sky light up as the alien ships began to falter. Buildings still burned, but the alien attacks were weakening. For the first time in days, she felt a spark of hope. In the command bridge of one of the human ships, Captain Jared Miles observed the situation with calm eyes. He spoke to his crew in soft, firm tones. "Focus on disabling their weapons. Protect the colony. No unnecessary destruction. Keep civilians safe." The crew nodded. They had trained for decades, preparing for situations like this. They knew what their weapons could do, and just as importantly, what they should not do. Their goal was not conquest or glory. Their goal was simple: protect life when no one else would. One human ship darted closer to a massive alien dreadnought. The aliens laughed, or tried to, but their laughter turned to shock when the ship passed harmlessly through a storm of debris and fired at a weak point in the hull. A single strike disabled the dreadnought's primary weapon. "Impossible!" one alien shouted. "We should have destroyed them by now." Varys felt his confidence crumble. He had prepared for every possible enemy, every possible tactic. But humans were different. They did not follow the expected patterns. They adapted, they changed, and they never gave up. Meanwhile, in the streets of Arden 9, the colonists saw the alien ships falter. Some cried, some cheered, but all felt the same thing: hope. It was fragile, yes, but it was real. Hours turned into the first night of battle. The human fleet, though smaller and less armed than the alien forces, moved with perfect coordination. Every strike counted. Every maneuver saved lives. The alien commanders could not understand it. It was as if the humans had a sixth sense for war. By dawn, the battle had changed. The alien fleet was still powerful, still dangerous, but it no longer had the advantage. Varys, his pride wounded, realized something he had never thought possible. Humans could win. And not just by luck, but by courage, intelligence, and determination. Captain Jared Miles watched the horizon from his bridge. He spoke quietly, almost to himself. "We're just getting started. They called for help, and we came. That's all that matters." And for the first time in days, the colonists of Arden 9 slept with a sense of safety. The aliens still hovered above, but now they faced an enemy they could not predict. The galaxy, watching from a distance, began to take notice. Humans had arrived, not with thunderous numbers, not with overwhelming firepower, but with determination, intelligence, and courage. And that was enough to make the strongest armies hesitate. Varys stared at the remaining human ships, his mind racing. He had fought in dozens of wars, faced countless enemies, and studied the greatest tactics of the galaxy. And yet, humans were different. They were unpredictable, bold, and fearless. For the first time, he felt fear, not for his life, but for the future of the galaxy. And above it all, the human fleet waited silently, ready to act, but not yet showing the full extent of their power. The message was clear. When no one else would arrive, humanity would. The sun rose over Arden 9, casting long shadows over cities that had almost been lost. Fires still burned, buildings lay in ruins, and yet the human ships glowed quietly in the sky. They were calm, precise, and unwavering. In that moment, the galaxy learned something new. Help could come from unexpected places. Hope could arrive in forms no one predicted. And humanity did not abandon those in need. Even the alien fleet, arrogant and confident, began to reconsider. This was not the end of the battle, not by far. But the first chapter had been written. Humans had arrived. The sky above Arden 9 burned with light and shadow. Alien ships still hovered, their hulls glinting in the stars' early light. Yet despite their size and firepower, They no longer controlled the battlefield. Every strike the aliens launched now met with human precision, neutralized almost before it could reach the colony. Commander Varys paced in his command room aboard his flagship. Sweat dripped down his brow, although his species did not usually show fear in this way. "How is it possible?" he demanded. "We should have destroyed them by now. Every advantage is ours." An officer, trembling slightly, spoke up. "Sir, they move differently. They do not follow standard attack patterns. They anticipate our maneuvers, and they strike exactly where it counts." Varys growled, frustrated. He had faced countless enemies in his career, yet never one like this. "Prepare another wave. Double the attack. We will overwhelm them." Meanwhile, Captain Jared Miles of the human fleet observed the alien formations through his viewport. His crew worked calmly. Around him, each member focused, disciplined. "They're trying to overwhelm us," Jared said. "Good, let them. Keep your focus. Protect the colony first, everything else second." The human ships moved in coordinated arcs, splitting the alien fleet into smaller groups. One squadron of human fighters zipped around a massive alien cruiser, striking weak points with concentrated pulses of energy. The cruiser staggered, its shields flickering. Another human ship flew between two alien vessels, its path so unpredictable that the enemy couldn't track it. On the surface, the colonists watched the sky in awe. Children pointed at the glowing ships, their parents holding them close. "Who are they?" a young girl whispered. Mayor Lyra's voice trembled with a mix of hope and disbelief. "They are humans, and they are fighting for us." In space, the aliens regrouped. Commander Varys realized that conventional tactics were failing. "Adapt," he barked. "Change the formations, anticipate their moves." But every change only revealed another human strategy. Humans did not act in rigid patterns. They adapted to every situation instantly. They flanked, they dodged, they used the debris and asteroids around the system as shields and traps. Alien sensors struggled to predict their actions. One particularly bold human ship, smaller than the rest, approached the largest alien battleship. The crew held their breath as the vessel flew in and out of the cruiser's firing range, dodging every shot with split-second precision. Then, with a single pulse, the battleship's main weapon was disabled. The alien crew panicked. "Impossible!" shouted one of the alien captains. "How can a small ship do this?" Jared Miles watched from his bridge. "Good work," he said, softly to the pilot. "Now get back to formation. We are not finished." The human fleet was not just fighting, they were teaching. Every move forced the aliens to reconsider their assumptions. No species in the galaxy had fought like this. The humans combined bravery with intelligence. They did not simply attack. They studied, they adapted, they predicted, and they executed with precision. Meanwhile, on Arden 9's surface, the colonists started moving supplies to safer locations under the human fleet's indirect protection. Fires still raged, but every alien strike that fell was now intercepted or deflected. Soldiers took courage from the humans above, fighting with renewed energy. A squad of human ships approached a group of smaller alien fighters attempting to enter the city. The alien ships fired indiscriminately, but the humans moved with uncanny speed, intercepting the shots and disabling the alien craft without harming the colony below. Commander Varys's claws gripped the console tightly. "They are protecting the colony," he muttered. "Not for power, not for glory, just for the people." For the first time, the alien commander felt a strange emotion. Respect and fear. Respect for the humans' abilities, and fear of what might come next. Jared Miles issued another command. "Split into two groups. One continues to hold the fleet here. The other provides cover for the civilians evacuating to the mountain shelters." His crew obeyed instantly, moving with silent coordination. Every action seemed deliberate, almost artistic. The alien fleet scrambled to adjust. "Focus fire on the small groups," an alien captain barked. "They cannot all be stopped." But they were wrong. The humans were not relying on brute force. They used strategy, cunning, and timing. One small squadron of human ships lured a group of alien destroyers into a trap near a ring of debris left from a destroyed asteroid. The debris acted like natural mines, and when the aliens flew through, their ships were damaged or disabled without human ships taking a scratch. Varys's eyes widened. They are using the environment intentionally. They are thinking like us, but better. Above the colony, a human shuttle landed briefly to extract civilians trapped in a damaged sector. Soldiers on the ground watched as a human crew entered the city, removed civilians, and left before any alien ships could react. The humans moved with speed, efficiency, and care. Mayor Lyra's voice cracked with emotion as she watched the shuttle lift off safely. They are saving us," she said softly. "They came when no one else did, and they are keeping us alive." In space, the aliens began to panic. Their formations broke apart as human tactics forced them into defensive positions. Each alien ship's sensors registered the humans as unpredictable, dangerous, and intelligent. Commander Varys realized a truth he had not faced before. "We cannot beat them if we fight the way we always fight," he said. "We must adapt." But even as the aliens attempted to change tactics, the humans anticipated. A larger human vessel executed a maneuver so bold that it drew the alien fleet's attention completely. While they focused on the big ship, smaller human fighters disabled key weapon systems on multiple alien ships at once. Jared Miles watched the results with calm satisfaction. "They are learning," he said to his crew. "We are showing them how humans fight. And we are showing them we do not quit." As night fell on Arden 9, the alien fleet had taken serious damage. Fires still burned on the surface, but the colony's heart was safe. The humans had shown the aliens that even in overwhelming numbers, courage, skill, and intelligence could turn the tide of battle. Commander Varys withdrew slightly from the planet. He had faced defeat many times, but never like this. Humans were not just soldiers. They were problem solvers, warriors, and protectors all at once. He realized that the galaxy had underestimated them profoundly. On the human bridge, Jared Miles stood and looked at the system. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We respond when no one else will. That is what humans do." For the colonists below, sleep came easier that night. For the first time in days, they felt safe. Their saviors had arrived. And not just as warriors, but as humans. Determined, courageous, and relentless. Somewhere far across the galaxy, other species began to take note. Reports would travel fast. Word of humans' arrival would spread. And soon, every corner of the galaxy would learn that humans were not ordinary. They were bold, clever, and capable of feats no one else could imagine. But for now, the humans did not seek fame. They did not seek conquest. They only sought to protect, to help, to act where no one else dared. And that was enough to make legends begin. Varys stared at the horizon of Arden 9, where human ships still glimmered in the starlight. He did not know what would happen next. He only knew one thing for certain. The galaxy had changed. Humans had arrived. News traveled faster than light, or at least close to it. The story of Arden 9 and the humans who had arrived when no one else dared began to ripple across nearby star systems. Ships passing through trade routes intercepted fragments of communications. A colony under siege, alien fleets overwhelmed, humans acting alone, precise and deadly. Commander Varys of the Xylar Confederation remained in orbit around Arden 9, his mind restless. His fleet had been badly damaged, and though the humans had not completely destroyed them, They had humiliated the strongest ships in the system. His species had always believed themselves the masters of strategy, yet these humans had not only matched their tactics, they had improved upon them. "They are too clever," Varys muttered, pacing the bridge of his command ship. His officers nodded silently, though none could offer a solution. Every attempt to predict the humans' next move had failed. Every calculation was off by a margin large enough to make the difference between victory and defeat. Meanwhile, the colonists of Arden 9 were beginning to rebuild what the battle had destroyed. Mayor Lyra coordinated teams to repair infrastructure, clear debris, and care for the injured. Yet she never took her eyes off the sky, where the human fleet still hovered. The humans had made no demands, asked for no rewards, and yet they stayed, ensuring the colony's safety. In one of the human command ships, Captain Jared Miles reviewed reports from his reconnaissance drones. "They're regrouping," he said calmly. "The aliens are trying to recover, but they still don't understand us. That's good. Let's keep it that way." Lieutenant Mara Chen, his tactical officer, raised a question. "Sir, other systems are picking up our actions. Word is spreading fast. Some species are curious. Some are nervous." Jared nodded. "Good. Let them watch. Let them see what humans are willing to do. We are not here to fight the galaxy. We are here to protect life. That message is more important than any victory." Back on Arden 9, the alien fleet attempted a final push to take the colony. Commander Varys had been forced to repair his ships and gather reinforcements from nearby patrols. He knew that the humans' abilities could not be underestimated, but he also knew he could not retreat without losing face. The humans responded, not with aggression, but with strategy. They had placed themselves between the alien fleet and the colony, drawing fire in calculated ways, saving every life below. Human ships moved in perfect synchrony, every maneuver designed to protect civilians, disable weapons, and minimize damage. One human vessel darted close to an alien cruiser, drawing fire and then leading it into a carefully plotted field of asteroids. The alien ship's shields faltered, and multiple weapons systems shut down as a result. Varys watched, horrified. "They are teaching us how to lose," he muttered. Reports of the battle began to reach the Galactic Council, the governing body that had failed Arden 9. Senators and representatives, spread across countless systems, watched the events unfold with growing embarrassment. The humans acted where the Council had promised, but failed. Their inaction had been exposed, and now the galaxy's leaders had to see the humans' true power and determination. In a quiet room on a distant star station, a counselor whispered, "We cannot ignore them any longer. These humans, they are not like the others." Even alien species that had not been involved in the battle began to take notice. Scholars, traders, and mercenaries alike discussed the humans' tactics, their courage, and their willingness to act when no one else would. Stories spread across the galaxy. Humans had arrived, and they were unlike anything anyone had encountered. Back on Arden 9, the humans continued their work. A small squadron conducted reconnaissance missions, ensuring no alien ships remained hidden in the asteroid belts or around nearby moons. Drones and sensors scanned the surface, locating injured colonists and structural damage. Humans coordinated relief efforts alongside the colony's emergency teams, demonstrating patience and efficiency. Children watched from the city windows, their eyes wide with admiration. "They are heroes," one whispered. "Not heroes," Mayor Lyra corrected softly. "They are humans. They just do what is right." Captain Jared Miles observed a minor skirmish near the planet's northern ridge. A group of alien scouts had tried to sneak past human patrols to attack civilians. Mara Chen guided 2 human ships to intercept them, disabling the scouts' weapons and forcing them to retreat. Not a single civilian was harmed. "They learn quickly, but they are still cautious," Jared noted. "That's good. Caution and courage together make them dangerous." Varys, meanwhile, struggled to understand human behavior. His species had always relied on strength and calculated strategy. Humans did not fight the way anyone expected. They were flexible, adaptive, and fearless in ways that broke every rule of war. "I do not understand them," he admitted. "And that terrifies me." The human fleet then made a bold move. They sent a single ship into the heart of the alien formation, drawing the fleet's attention. While the aliens focused on it, other human ships disabled weapons systems across multiple vessels simultaneously. The aliens had never faced opponents who coordinated attacks with such precision, moving faster than their sensors could track. Colonists below cheered quietly, careful not to draw attention from the aliens above. Fires still burned, but the city's heart remained safe. The humans had proven that one species, small in number but immense in courage and intelligence, could shift the balance of power. Across the galaxy, observers began recording everything. Scientists studied the humans' movements, traders whispered about their bravery, and military strategists tried to calculate how such small forces could achieve such results. The legend of humanity began here, in the quiet corner of the galaxy, where Arden 9 existed. Varys called a council of his surviving officers. "We cannot underestimate them," he said. "They are not like any enemy we have faced. They are dangerous." An officer hesitated. "Sir, should we retreat?" Varys's eyes burned with frustration. "We cannot retreat. Our honor, our pride. But we cannot fight them and win either. We must survive, and perhaps learn from them." The humans did not stop. They continued to protect the colony, evacuating civilians from damaged sectors, guiding emergency teams, and securing critical infrastructure. Every action, every maneuver demonstrated a philosophy alien commanders had never encountered. Act to protect, not to conquer. Captain Jared Miles finally allowed himself a moment of reflection. "We are showing them something important," he said quietly. "Humans arrive when no one else does. That is what makes us different. That is what makes us strong." Night fell on Arden 9, but the battle had shifted. The alien fleet, though still present, was damaged, hesitant, and wary. Their strategy had failed against opponents who did not fight by the rules they understood. Across the galaxy, other civilizations began asking questions. Who were these humans? How could a single fleet, so small, challenge the mightiest ships of the Xylar Confederation? What principles guided them? The answers would come slowly, as humans moved quietly from system to system, acting only when they were needed, leaving no footprints of conquest, only of hope. Varys stared at the horizon, where the humans' ships glimmered. He had fought countless battles, yet none had left him with such unease. "They are not ordinary," he whispered, "and the galaxy will learn the same lesson we have." The colonists slept easier that night, their trust in the humans unshakable. The humans had shown that courage, intelligence, and compassion could overcome even the greatest threat. Arden 9 was safe, not because of overwhelming power, but because humans chose to arrive when no one else would. The story of Arden 9 spread further than anyone expected. From small trading outposts to massive galactic capitals, the legend of the humans' courage, ingenuity, and compassion began to take shape. They were not conquerors. They were not invaders. They were saviors. And as the humans rested for the night, preparing for whatever challenge might come next, the galaxy watched. Curious, nervous, and awed. For the first time, the beings of the stars realized that there was a force they could not predict, a species that did not follow the usual rules of power. They were humans. The alien fleet was silent no more. After 2 days of unexpected losses and humiliation, Commander Varys of the Xylar Confederation ordered a full counterattack. Alien warships, larger and more numerous than before, moved in perfect formation. Their goal was clear: crush the human fleet, and reclaim dominance over Arden 9. Varys's officers were tense. "Sir, they have anticipated every move before," one said nervously. "How can we strike when they predict us?" Varys's claws gripped the console. "We adapt. If they think like humans, we must think beyond ourselves. Use the asteroid field in the northern belt. Force them to fight on our terms." Meanwhile, Captain Jared Miles studied the alien formations. "They're trying to box us in," he said. "Good. Let them. Our tactics aren't about fighting them head-on. We adapt, and we use the environment. Keep your focus, Lieutenant." Mara Chen frowned. "The northern asteroid belt is dense. Navigating through it will be dangerous. One mistake and a ship could be destroyed." "Exactly," Jared replied. "But humans make mistakes, yes. But we learn fast and we survive. Follow the plan, and we'll turn their strength into weakness." The human fleet split into two groups. One group remained near the colony, acting as a shield. The other moved into the asteroid belt to prepare the trap. The alien fleet, confident and overconfident, advanced without hesitation. On the planet below, Mayor Lyra watched from a command center. "They're risking everything to protect us," she whispered. "I can't believe humans would do this for strangers." Hours passed as the two fleets moved closer. The humans remained calm, their ships gliding through space with silent precision. Sensors scanned constantly, plotting asteroid positions, calculating alien trajectories, and determining the safest routes. Then the trap was sprung. A squadron of human fighters darted past alien cruisers, drawing their fire. Laser beams sliced through space, but the human ships moved unpredictably, weaving between asteroids and disappearing from the enemy's targeting systems. Alien weapons fired into the belt, striking rocks instead of ships. Some cruisers became trapped in debris fields, struggling to navigate. Captain Jared Miles observed from his command bridge. "Now," he ordered. "Hit their weapon systems simultaneously." In perfect coordination, the human fleet launched targeted pulses at critical systems across the alien fleet. Weapons shut down, engines faltered, and communications flickered. Alien officers scrambled to regain control, but every reaction was anticipated by the humans. Varys's claws struck the console in frustration. How are they doing this? They are fewer in number, yet stronger in every way." On the colony, the humans' actions bought precious time. Evacuation teams led civilians from damaged sectors to underground shelters. Firefighters doused blazes with help from human drones, which also carried injured citizens. The humans never hesitated, never retreated, and never harmed the planet itself. In space, an alien battleship finally managed to fire a weapon. A massive pulse of energy struck a human ship, but shields held. Mara Chen quickly calculated a counterstrike, and the alien weapon was disabled before it could fire again. "They are relentless," Varys muttered. "They do not fear death, and they do not yield." Jared Miles spoke quietly to his crew. "This is why humans survive. Courage, intelligence, teamwork. We do not fight for glory. We fight for life. Remember that, and we cannot fail." A smaller human ship executed a daring maneuver, diving directly between two massive alien cruisers. It fired two concentrated pulses, disabling both ships' engines. The alien fleet began to falter. The battle reached its climax when Varys ordered a direct strike at the human fleet's position. Alien cruisers moved in tight formation, their weapons blazing. The humans responded not with fear, but with precise timing. They lured the alien ships into narrow asteroid channels where movement was restricted. Crashing into rocks or one another became a real threat for the larger, less agile alien vessels. On the surface, the colonists looked up as beams of light flashed through the sky. They could not see the full battle, only glimpses of explosions and shadows, but they felt the humans' presence above as a protective shield. Mayor Lyra whispered a prayer of thanks. "They are saving us." and they don't even ask for anything. In return, back in space, Varys realized that the humans' strategy was more than clever. It was human. They combined bravery, quick thinking, and adaptability in ways the aliens could not comprehend. For every alien advantage, the humans had a counter. For every assault, there was a defense. One particularly bold human move involved a small vessel flying straight toward Varys's flagship. The humans seemed to ignore the massive weapons array pointed at them. Then, in a blink, they fired a precise energy pulse at the flagship's shield generator. The shields flickered, alarms blared, and the flagship staggered. "Impossible!" Varys shouted. His fleet wavered, unsure how to respond. The humans had exploited every weakness, every assumption, and every predictable move. Captain Jared Miles watched from his bridge. "They believe in strength through force," he said quietly. "We believe in strength through action, precision, and teamwork. That is why humans survive." The alien fleet, battered and confused, began to retreat. Some ships were damaged, beyond repair, forced to withdraw. Others hesitated, unsure whether they could continue without complete coordination. The humans pursued only as necessary, disabling weapons and ensuring no further threat reached the colony. Hours later, the battle was over. The asteroid field was littered with wreckage, but Arden 9 remained standing. Fires still burned on the surface, but civilians were safe, thanks to the humans' careful protection. Varys, battered and humiliated, stared at the horizon. He could not understand the humans, could not predict them, and could not defeat them. "This is not an enemy," he said quietly. "It is a force of nature." The humans did not celebrate. They did not cheer. Their fleet regrouped in orbit, scanning for any remaining threats. Every movement was deliberate, every action thoughtful. They had won, but their goal was always protection, never conquest. On the surface, Mayor Lyra addressed the colony. "They came when no one else would. They risked everything for us, strangers they had never met. We owe them our lives and our gratitude." Captain Jared Miles finally allowed himself a moment of reflection. "We did what humans do," he said softly. "We arrived when no one else would. We acted because it was the right thing to do. That is all that matters." Elsewhere in the galaxy, the story of Arden 9 spread even further. Other species began to record the events, to analyze the humans' tactics, and to understand their courage. Scholars, military strategists, and ordinary citizens all took note. The humans' reputation as bold, intelligent, and compassionate warriors began to take root. Varys would return to his people with tales of humans who could not be predicted, who could not be beaten by conventional strategy, and who fought not for power, but for the protection of life. His species would never forget the lesson Arden 9 had taught them. When humans arrived, they changed the balance of any battle, and often the balance of the galaxy itself. As night fell over Arden 9, the colonists slept in safety. Fires would be extinguished, buildings repaired, and life would continue. And above, the human fleet glimmered quietly, waiting, observing, and ready to act whenever and wherever they were needed. Captain Jared Miles stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the stars. "There will be more battles," he said, "but we will face them, as we always have. We arrive when no one else will. That is humanity." And in that quiet, powerful statement, the galaxy began to understand something extraordinary. Humans were not ordinary. They were a species defined not by numbers or weapons, but by courage, intelligence, and the will to act when all others faltered. Arden 9 was quiet now. Fires still smoked on the horizon, but the worst had passed. The alien fleet had retreated, crippled and humiliated, leaving the colony in a fragile peace. Below, colonists stepped cautiously from shelters, blinking at. The sunlight in the sky, where the human ships still hovered silently. Mayor Lyra walked through the streets with her security team, assessing the damage. She saw broken buildings, scorched land, and exhausted citizens, yet hope shone in every eye. They had survived, and they had survived because humans had arrived when no one else would. Above, Captain Jared Miles watched the colony from his bridge. He had not given orders for celebration or triumph. Humans did not fight for glory. They fought because it was necessary. Yet, as he observed the rebuilding efforts below, he felt a quiet satisfaction. They had done their job. Lieutenant Mara Chen approached him. "Sir, the alien fleet is scattered. Reports indicate some ships retreating to nearby systems. They will not strike again soon." Jared nodded. "Good, but we stay. Arden 9 is not fully safe until repairs are complete. We make sure no one threatens them again. Humans arrive when no one else does, and we stay until it's done." On the planet, the colonists worked to restore their homes and infrastructure. Human crews coordinated with them, carrying supplies, repairing power grids, and clearing debris. Every human ship had a small team dedicated to assisting civilians, each member calm, patient, and efficient. Children followed the human teams with wide eyes, fascinated by their presence. Soldiers of the colony, who had spent hours in fear and exhaustion, now worked alongside humans, learning techniques for efficiency and survival. Every action the humans took inspired confidence and resilience. Mayor Lyra watched a human crew lift a collapsed beam from a building. She approached one of the workers and asked, "Why do you help us? We are strangers." The human smiled. "We act because it's right. That is enough." Meanwhile, Commander Varys of the Xylar Confederation regrouped in his flagship, Far, from Arden 9. His fleet had suffered heavy losses, and the humiliation of defeat weighed heavily on him. Yet despite the anger and shame, he could not deny what he had seen. Humans were extraordinary. "They do not fight like us," Varys admitted to his officers. "They adapt, they think, and they protect those in need. They are a force unlike any other." An officer hesitated. "Sir, should we engage them again?" Varys shook his head. "No, not now. Not yet. They will arrive where we cannot predict, and they will always win when it matters most. We need to respect them, even if we cannot beat them." Back on Arden 9, the human fleet maintained a defensive perimeter. Small human ships patrolled nearby asteroid belts, scanning for hidden threats. Larger vessels monitored deep space signals for any signs of returning alien forces. Humans were not content with simply leaving. They ensured the colony's safety until recovery was complete. Jared Miles walked through the central city with Mara Chen, observing the colonists' progress. "They trust us," he said quietly, "not because we demand it, but because we act when others would do nothing. That is humanity's strength." Mara nodded. "And that is why the galaxy will remember us." Word spreads fast. Every species that saw this battle will talk about humans who arrive when no one else dares. Night fell on Arden 9. Citizens rested in shelters or newly rebuilt homes. The human ships glimmered softly above, a silent reassurance that no threat would reach them. For the first time in many days, the colony felt safe and whole again. As the galaxy watched, news spread. Traders, diplomats, and scholars recorded accounts of humans who had arrived in a distant system, fought a superior alien fleet, and protected a helpless colony without seeking glory or reward. Across systems, whispers grew into discussions, and discussions grew into awe. Humans had established a reputation far beyond their numbers. In the following days, humans worked alongside the colonists to restore essential systems. Power grids were repaired, communication networks restored, and emergency shelters expanded. Every action demonstrated the humans' philosophy: act to protect, act intelligently, and act without expecting praise. Mayor Lyra met with Captain Jared, Miles. "You saved us," she said, her voice trembling. "Not just our lives, but our hope. How can we ever thank you?" Jared smiled gently. "You live. You rebuild. That is thanks enough. We act because no one else did. Humanity always arrives when it is needed." In orbit, Lieutenant Mara Chen monitored the alien fleet in retreat. "They are regrouping," she reported. "We may see them again, sir." Jared nodded. "Let them come. Humans have faced worse. We do not fear challenges. We do not abandon those in need. That is who we are." The alien fleet, scattered and battered, returned to their home systems. Commander Varys reported the events to his leaders. "There is a species in the galaxy unlike any other," he said. "They are humans. They arrive when others fail. They protect, they adapt, and they endure. We cannot underestimate them." Even other civilizations, far from Arden 9, began to take note. Scholars studied human tactics. Military leaders tried to understand their philosophy. Traders spoke of their courage and intelligence. Across the galaxy, the humans' legend began to grow. On the planet, life slowly returned to normal. Children played in streets cleared of debris. Markets reopened. Citizens repaired homes and public buildings. And always above them, the human fleet remained, a quiet, steady presence. One evening, Mayor Lyra walked to the city's highest tower. She looked at the stars and the human ships that glimmered above. "They came when no one else would," she whispered. "And they stayed. That is something we will never forget." Captain Jared Miles watched from his bridge as the colony below began to thrive again. "This is why humans endure," he said softly. "We arrive when no one else will, and we stay until it is done. That is our way. That is humanity." Across the galaxy, whispers turned into stories, stories into legends. A small corner of the universe had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans acting not for conquest, not for power, but because it was right. The galaxy learned that humans were fearless, clever, and unyielding. They were the ones who arrived when everyone else failed. Back on Arden 9, as the colony continued to rebuild, humans helped establish long-term defenses and trained local forces in strategies for survival and adaptation. The aliens might return someday, but the colony would never be helpless again. And if humans were needed again, they would come, always. Commander Varys would return to his people with a new understanding. Humans were not just another species. They were a force of nature, a lesson in courage, intelligence, and morality. He would never forget Arden 9, and he would never underestimate humanity again. On the planet, Mayor Lyra stood among her citizens, her eyes shining with gratitude. They came when no one else would. They stayed when they could have left. And because of them, we live. Captain Jared Miles watched the sunrise with his crew. The battle was over, the colony was safe, and the humans had done what they always did. They arrived.